if you don't program your mind for change, when change happens around you, you can have drastic reactions. And I've watched women in particular take drastic reactions with businesses they have invested in. She just literally gave everything away. You know the funny part? A few years after, she came back to restart again. Yes. Because she was amazing at what she did. And she destroyed value when she took that decision. I almost killed her the day she told me. I'm like, why? Couldn't you have just spoken to someone and asked? She said, I was just tired. That's your emotions. Who cares? When you're tired, look for right sense, which is why you must have the right tribe around you. You must always have a support system that keeps you in control. So that when you are exhibiting the madness of the moment, there's a voice that says, do what? I better go and sit down. At least they would stop you from taking the action until it's necessary. She literally destroyed her own business by herself. By the time she came back, all her customers had gone to her staff that she gave. And she gave them all her tools as well. Yes, it's true. The only thing is they can't take her creativity. They could only produce to the point of where she stopped. But she could pick up from there and create new ideas. And she did. But I think where she is now compared to where she should have been if she moved is also why you need knowledge. How does business work? How does business work? I'm tired of business. So there are options. Do I sell it? I went through this process with somebody else of recent. Brilliant, amazing, committed, built a great business. But she was at a point where all the pressure of change around was getting to her. She was tired. She was really tired of the business. She just wanted to get away from it. And then because she was tired and acting like that, her husband, she was frustrating him as well in her action and her reaction. And then he called me and said, we're coming to see you. So they came. We sat down. We talked about it. At that point, she was talking to some consulting firm who said, okay, you know what? We'll take the business from you at zero. We will work it to produce results over the next 3 years. By the third year point and all of that, we will return this kind of value to you. All the value they will return to her would have been generated from the business that she built. What were they putting on the table? Nothing. What was the basis of the reaction? Her emotions, her frustration, her tiredness in a process of change and the pressure that Nigeria can sometimes put on you. She was responding to it and it had gotten to her. Now, understandably, there are days we just don't want anything to do with business anymore. But you don't run away because change will always happen. So eventually what she's done, a beautiful thing now. So at a point, I just put my foot down and said, no, you're not. You're not. I mean, this, you will cry in a short while when you realize that this is the biggest mistake of your life if you make it. That's so, I do not permit you to sign this contract. Because they had a contract, they had a presentation, I said, you will cry. This is going to make you so sad. You'll feel stupid if you do it. And then she walked through, I told her, go and pray. Go, just take some time off. Don't go to work. Don't do anything. Sometimes in the process of change, detach yourself from the situation. Find the right voices around you. Talk to them. Find your support system. Find your tribe. Let them lift you up and help you through. Find people that have experiences in your industry. If you're in fashion, go to Enike. She will tell you 5 stories, 10 stories, 20 stories of moments when it felt like she should just walk away. But she didn't. Find whatever the industry is, find them, talk to them, lean on their experience. And then find how you walk yourself out of it with value. Never to destroy value. At the end, now, she's handed over to a CEO to run the business. She's going to focus on what she's best at. You know, the part that she's tired of, somebody else can take it off. The company is going to do so well. I am confident of that because of the structure of change and the process that is ongoing. It can happen to you too. So I need you to understand that you must adapt, you must adopt when it's necessary. At every stage of your business, refine over time because things happen around you. How you feel about your business can change. Refine your decision concerning that. Sometimes, I want to be MD till I'm 70. Okay. If you get to 50 and you're tired, just know that you need to get out. But the business doesn't need to go anywhere. Just find somebody else who is happy to be CEO at that point and let them run it. And then you can go on doing other things with your life. You know, I told myself at 31, I was going to get away from my business when I'm 50. Now at 50, I will not want to run my business anymore. And I started planning it since that when I was pregnant with my second son, and at a point I just said to myself, I want a life. By 50, I do not want to be responsible for this business. I want somebody else to do it, but I want to watch the transition so I'll know if I made the right decisions and I can adjust it. At 48, I invited a firm and said, help me to put all these companies I'm building, put them together. That's how we set up the group structure. Find all the elements of leadership within and outside. And please, the only thing I want to be is a customer to the business, strategy, and new business. And let me look from the outside in. For all the things I've done in the last 12 years, is because I've been free from my own business. Because I had made that decision ahead. Not that I could see the things I then came to do. It was just that it was a desire in my heart and I got myself out. And even now, there are many times that you feel tempted to want to jump in again. And I made sure I never did. Why? Because if that business doesn't work well when I'm not there, I've wasted my life. And like I said, it's been 35 years of my life invested in it. So I do not want it to be considered as waste. Revise from time to time. Measure the progress along the way. Sometimes you're going to have to sell. Sometimes you don't. Sometimes your partners will change. Sometimes the kind of investment you take in. Because, you know, especially for those of you who are in tech, everybody's excited by, oh, I'm doing round B, I'm doing round C, I'm doing round D. Is it for free? No, it's not. So be sure why each round, what you're doing there. Be sure what you're building. Because sometimes people don't really know what they're building. They know I'm building a business and raising funds is funky. Yes, what is your long-term vision? What is your end game? How do you want to finish? Is this just a way to build a name and make money and get out of it and go and start again? If that's what your plan is, that's fine. But if it's not, then make sure that you're using the right strategy. It's not enough to just be, oh, wait, we're raising this. I always laugh half the time that, well, good for you, as long as that's where you want to be. Oh, sorry. Okay. So in that, define your success. But when I'm talking about you defining your success, you guys change your slide yourself. Oh. When I'm talking about you defining your success, it's because you want to know what your end game is. As an entrepreneur, how do you want to finish? Nika, in telling her story, told you at the end, it was about the transition. How she would transition. Because when she transitions, the legacy of Rough and Tumble will be standing. When I left, the Chess Center group is still there, and they're still running. And I hope that long after I'm gone, they're still there, and they're still running. Because I've spent my life doing that. How do you want to finish? What does success look like for you? Because if you do a SWOT analysis right now, between where you are and how you want to finish, it will guide the decisions you make. It will lead you to make the right decisions. The story of your life or the story of your business is about the accumulation of the decisions you make every day concerning that business. It's about the opportunities you choose to take and the ones you do not. Because some opportunities are toxic for you. They're toxic for your long term. You do not. There are investors that have money, but their money will poison the pot of your business. Depending on where you want to go. Is every money good enough? Or you have a value system that drives your standards and the things you will not touch? Are you proud to say that I'm building a company that no matter where the investors come from, the values of my company will pass the mark? Why? Because we're doing the right things. It's not just about the numbers. When we do the right things overall at the end, our numbers will speak. Somewhere in between, it might look like we're slower than others. That's one more thing I learned in building my business in 35 years. There were moments when it looked like, you're slower because of all these values and all of that. Ultimately, it worked for me. Ultimately, it speaks by itself. 3 years ago when we had, from my work at First Bank, when we had the battle with Emefiele, it looked like we were insane. We couldn't speak because people didn't understand. In a sensitive industry, you don't talk anyhow. There are positions and roles you occupy that require restraint. And for the sake of a nation and an institution, you will not speak. Because it was more costly for you to do that. So you let it pass, and you let people that know, people that don't know, everybody talks what they talk. But you know that at the right time, the truth will speak. It didn't take too long. It's spoken so much in the last 1 year. So you must decide who you are. You must decide what you want your legacy to be. You must decide how you want to finish. You must decide what truth you want to live by. Because things will continue to change around you. But you cannot afford to change anyhow. Because that makes all the difference. Because circumstances, it was interesting, she's on this global thing, she's on that global. Let me tell you, all that drama they did then, I had to answer for it globally. I had to face panels on a global level to answer to it. Painful, because you know the truth. But my 19-year-old son said something to me. On one day when I had one of those calls, and I finished and I was mad. I was really upset. My son saw me, "What's wrong, Mommy?" And I said, "I'm so mad. I lived my life a certain way, so I never have to answer to certain kind of questions." My son said to me, "Mommy, don't worry. By the time they finish their process, as in all these international people that we're going through a process, they think they know you now, but by the time they're done, they will really know you. And when they really know you, it will work for your advantage." My son was a prophet. Because ultimately, that's what happened. I went through 2 major ones, one on the American side, one on the British side. And by the time they were done, I sit in some places that I sit now because those things worked for me. So ask yourself how you want to finish. What does success mean to you? Bank balance, if you do what you do well, you'll always have the bank balance. A good name, your reputation as a child of God, your family name, the legacy you hand over to your children. Life, things will change around you, but some things must never change about you. And that is the most critical thing you must hold on to remember that change is part of life, but life, you control it by the decisions that you make. Go to the final slide that says, failure is not fatal. No, thank you. Failure is not fatal, but failure to change might be. So sometimes you will mess up. Sometimes you will miss it. That's fine. It's a transit point. My attitude to failure is meaningless. It's you deciding on the final situation of something when you're in the middle of it. How can you tell how it will end? There are points in your life that are meant to teach you things. Those things they teach you are valuable for places you will go to later. There's no other way to pick it up. I cannot replace some of my learning